Alright guys, welcome back to round 3 of Monthly Cup 16. We have a cool match for you guys. We have Dompork representing South Korea and an up-and-comer Valerian who has been performing very well on ladder, but also making a name in other parts of the competitive community. Now, Dompork has achieved quite a bit in competitive Faeria already. I believe he's been a top 4 player in maybe 1 or 2 previous events. I think Scorch can confirm that.
Yeah, just one way back in last year, the December final. Well, I guess that would have been this year. It would have been kind of the first weekend of January. But the December season of 2016, he took 4th place in that one. That was his best finish. Really has been up and down through monthly cups. There's been times where he's been out in the first round. There's been times where he gets to the quarterfinals and then is eliminated. But that 4th place at that stage wasn't for money. So the only money he has won was a bounty claimed off of Mayhem back in March. So definitely will be looking to continue what looks like a pretty good streak here and put forth another top 4 finish.
Yeah, Dompork wanting to probably push to that 1st place. I guess every player is in this tournament to get that prize money and get that prestige of being the top Faeria player of this month. Valerian, however, is a new face. Has been featured in a couple of events, I think. Maybe qualifiers. I have played Valerian on ladder, but fairly new.
Yeah, a very new name, at least to me in the stats that I keep. Just played in the 2nd qualifier of this month. That was the first real competitive experience that I have listed for him. Took down Sweetie in his qualification, won that series 2-1, came through the winner's bracket, so didn't drop a set in that qualifier, but first competitive experience, qualifier number 2, qualified, and now here on the big stage making a name for himself in the cup.
And eliminating Canfic. So Canfic is already on the casualty list for Valerian. And to be fair, as a new player, taking out Canfic in the most prestigious competitive Faeria event is quite a feat.
That was Dompork was against Canfic there.
Sorry,
Valerian took out Mayhem in the early round.
Mayhem, of course, yes.
Yes, was the one that he defeated there. But still, yeah, that's
Monthly Cup champion. That's even better.
Name. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to get into this match. Joining me on the desk, or on the cast, is going to be the Lizard himself. How's it going, dude? What do you think of this game?
Again, another one that I'm very excited for. Even more excited now that we've seen the lists of both of the players, but I won't spoil anything for you guys. So we'll keep it interesting. Yeah.
This is probably one of the spiciest monthly cups we've ever had. We've had red-yellow control with tricolor Fugu whales, and we've got some more fun stuff coming up. Look at Dompork's opening hand. That should give you an idea of what to expect. He's got himself a Village Elder and a Demon Wrangler, but also with Iona's Smile, so probably some form of sack.
And it looks like he's taking the fast line at Subway. He's not patient. He wants that Subway sandwich right here. And by Subway sandwich, I mean Soul Eater, and a big one. So we'll probably see some salmons in the deck as well
and
to accelerate. And Skyak, yeah.
Been a very important part of this kind of strategy. We are missing a card in Valerian's hand off the mulligan. I'm not too sure what that is, but I'm sure we'll find out a little bit later. Village Elder taking a desert there. So one little sad thing about green yellow sack is you can't really take a lot of neutrals, so you can't do like a Village Elder split. So you have to make the desert here and make the Village Elder later on. But with a Demon Wrangler in hand, that could be fine. That Demon Wrangler can collect on the oceans.
Yeah, and Village Elder is such a nice card overall in the sack deck because it functions both as a sack body and as an additional card draw. So you get even more of your sacrifice creatures to you.
And the Salmon's, of course, been another addition to Green Yellow Sack recently. It's a card that can, like you said, be like a campfire that draws a card with a Bone Collector, but also just more cycle. You know, the quicker Dompork can get through the deck, the more chance of drawing the very powerful Skyaks, and then later on the Soul Eaters to finish off the match.
Exactly. With Valerian already at a disadvantage. Maybe it's a graphical bug, but he's missing a card in hand.
Yeah, there's one card missing at the moment. I'd have to I think it's probably, while we're waiting, I will fix this error. This can be fixed by a simple relog, so just give me a moment, guys, and we'll get back into the action while Dompork is deciding what to do with this turn. Now, a Skyak was picked up, and you want to get these cards down as early as possible because you want them to die, and then your future Skyaks are going to produce more threats.
Yeah. Skyak really a card you want to draw in the early game, and Dompork can be more than happy that he drew into it now.
But it looks like Village Elder number 2.
Yeah. Looks like he's gonna opt for the Village Elder. Which is also not a bad play since it trades off with the Wood Elemental quite well.
I mean, I don't know many villages that have 2 Elders, but I guess the right-hand Elder made a pact with a Demon Wrangler, and now he is the king of his own village again.
Yeah. He's gonna live to tell the tale.
And
not sure how long he's gonna live, since
missing.
he's quite old, but he's definitely gonna live for a few turns to tell the tale.
And the card that was missing, if you can't see it, is a Frog Tosser. So now there's 2 Frog Tossers in hand.
Oh, okay. I might just relog myself, so I get a less buggy version that I can spectate.
So Skyak, both Skyaks in hand. So now if these Skyaks can start dying, getting some value. Oh, Iona Smell could search up the last Skyak, but Iona Smell actually has a lot of targets in this list. It has Flash Salmons, Skyaks, and Soul Eaters. So there's a bit of variance. You can't really control what it tutors. But to be fair, with the combination of the Demon Wrangler and the Demon Wing, this Octopus can be answered. And then maybe that's the time to develop the first Skyak and then start trying to flood them, because then the Flash Salmon can finish off the Wood Elemental, and then you can summon more Skyaks.
Yes, definitely. And it appears as though I just made a mistake. I think I clicked quit spectating instead of signing out, and now I'm out of the lobby.
It's going to be a radio cast then.
It's going to be a radio cast, yeah.
I believe Scorch is still here. No, Scorch has just disappeared for a moment. So yeah, I'll fly solo for now. I don't know if we can get you back in this game, unfortunately.
We should be able to get me back after the first one finishes.
Okay.
I guess.
All right.
But I'll keep you company for now.
All right. So late coming down, the Wood Elemental is going to push up aggressively to challenge the Skyak. Right now it clears it without. Well, we're living to tell the tale, so it's fine. We do know there is the Flash Salmon's being used as a way to cycle, but Frog Toss are going to take care of that Village Elder. And now Blue-Green is putting the pressure on. And to be fair, in this matchup, Blue-Green needs to be the more proactive player, because the win condition is much better for the sack player with the Soul Eaters that can get very large.
To be fair, though, there's Whale to counter Soul Eater. So
that is true. But I guess Skyaks are another win condition, right? The board flood could be very difficult for them to deal with.
Yeah. Skyaks especially annoying to deal with if you don't run the likes of a Garrodon in your deck.
So the positioning here has made things a little awkward for Dompork, because the Wood Elemental is currently protecting the Frog Tosser that took care of the Village Elder on the right. So the only real option here for Dompork to get this Skyak off the board and to get value is to clear the Battletoad. And this could open up double Skyak, but the double Skyak doesn't really achieve much. And unfortunately, Dompork picked up 2 Feed the Forest and another Soul Eater, so maybe it's just a Soul Eater play, and the Soul Eaters are currently at 6/6. Trade with the Frog. That'll make a 7/7 Soul Eater on the collection position to the right. Probably the best line here.
Yeah, even at 7/7, the Soul Eater's already a big threat for 5 Faeria. And from that point on, it's just going to keep on scaling, really.
And it's in double collection position now, so it can be used as a harvester and then eventually apply pressure. Right now, Valerian has a few creatures on the left-hand side, but nothing in a position that can attack the orb this turn. And in hand, there is a Frog Tosser, a Deepwood Stalker, and a Wood Elemental. So maybe just a Wood Elemental to lock the Soul Eater in play and basically just starve Dompork of Faeria. Okay, we've got the Frog Tosser and the Wood Elemental moving into the aggressive position here. Going to try and push some damage next turn. Domport picking up that Demon Wrangler. So I think there's an opportunity here to just clear the Wood Elemental and then feed the Soul Eater and get that additional Faeria and see what gets picked up. It's going to give 4 Faeria and a card draw, empowering the other Soul Eater in hand. I think that would be a good starting point for Domport.
Well, feeding the Soul Eater is always something you don't necessarily want to do, since it's your win condition, and it kind of puts you on a timer to finish off your opponent.
I think the issue is, if the Soul Eater isn't fed, it's going to die to a Frog Tosser, followed by a Deepwood Stalker. And then there's going to be no Faeria collection. And at least if you feed this one after clearing the Wood Elemental, you're going to be putting another 8/8 Soul Eater down in its place, which is going to be a lot more difficult to kill.
I guess it still feels kind of bad to feed your win condition though.
I guess +1 into the other Soul Eater might be fine. Going from a 7/7, and you get the 8/8. It's gonna be a Skyak. Okay, so getting some Skyaks. I like this. So developing 2 Skyaks to protect the Soul Eater from the Frog Tosser, and then hoping that a Skyak will clear the last 3 remaining life of this Frog Tosser and getting some value. Another Frog Tosser pickup for Valerian here. Frog Tosser's not bad. I mean, actually, is there 7 Faeria? No, not enough to play Frog Tosser, then Aurora, the 4/3 Frog Tosser, and clear the Soul Eater. But could take care of 1 Skyak, get another Frog down, and then maybe just push 6 damage this turn. I think it's probably the best line, although Deepwood Stalker definitely can do something here instead of Frog Tosser and keeping Frog Tosser for some more high value targets. Tricky position. I think aggression is going to be pretty good here. No need to clear the Skyax really, I suppose, but I guess Frog Tosser develops additional tempo because it creates the frog.
Yeah, I could imagine the frog is just being really important. Generally, you don't want to clear the Skyax as a rule of thumb. You try to let the Skyak be, let it fly in peace. But if you can go for such a tempo play here and develop 2 creatures on the board, you might as well go for it.
There's an opportunity here for the 3/2 Skyak to clear the 4/3, and then well, I guess the Soul Eater could go into the Wood Elemental. That blocks the 4/1 from hitting the orb this turn. Could Iona Smile? Try and find a Salmon. Salmon takes care of the 4/1 there. Oh, Living Willow picked up. 3 feed Forest in hands. I'd like to see another Willow here and just feed another Willow.
Yeah, and this is when the deck gets crazy good at rolling through the cards. Just 1 Willow into another feed, into another Smile, and then you get all your card draw.
You know, this Soul Eater might be used as an aggressive line now. Just zip right up to the top. No, gonna go for defense. I think that defense is fine. If Domport was feeling especially brave, he could have just zipped it up to the top and just set up 2-turn lethal on his next turn. Flash Salmon pickup, absolutely beautiful there. Going to be able to take care of that 4/1, and it's going to power up the Bone Collector as well. Very useful.
We see just how much variety this Thermal brings to the table. This card can be used in so many great ways, and it's one of the reasons it's my favorite over Sky card, because in the worst case it's just a card cycle. It can also be used as a 1 damage removal if you really need to, but in general its use is so good. And it also has synergy with Gift of Steel, for example. If you run it in combat, it also has synergy with other buffs, with the Sky Cap, for example, if you use it in Flyers, or even just in Sack as a cycle, or in a removal tool. So yeah, really great card overall.
Yeah, very flexible. used in rush, used in control. It has a lot of different ways it can be utilized. Card draw, removal, face damage, whatever you want it for. Flash Salmon will do it for you. And now I feel that Valerian's in a very difficult position because the board has been flooded. There's a lot of Skyax down, there's a big Soul Eater as well, but there's also this Bone Collector that could get out of hand. Now this could be an opportunity for Valerian to take care of this Bone Collector now and just get rid of it. There is an Aurora in hand. Frog could jump right across and then he could take care of the Bone Collector. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I like this. That Bone Collector, I mean, the Soul Eater's a big enough threat. You don't want a Bone Collector to get out of hand as well. So Skyak clearing out the remains of that frog, further empowering the Soul Eater. Oh, Soul Eater zipping off to the left-hand side there, taking care of the Wood Elemental, so there's no more Faeria collection, and all of a sudden, Dompork has complete control of the board with a 13-13 Soul Eater in the middle, ready to hit the orb next turn. This is looking like lights out for Valerian. I cannot see a comeback. Fugoro might be able to find something. Earn, baby, earn. Let's see what we get. Can feed the Fugoro as well, but I mean, I guess you just need Whale at this point. Yeah, that's not going to help. So Skywhale could have been a savior there, but it looks like Dompork is going to take the first match of the series and takes a 1-0 lead over Valerian. Alright, let's get you back in. Invite Pendin.
Alright. It looks like I'm back in the lobby again. So I should be able to see if Valerian can come back from this.
It was looking pretty bad for Dompork when that tempo line came out with the frog tossers, but everything kind of lined up quite nicely after that. You know, Soul Eater managed to take care of the Wood Elemental, the Flash Salmon took care of the 4-1, and then the Bone Collector came down and loads of Skyax, and after that it was just lights out for Valerian.
Yeah, once you get your Willow feats, it's pretty crazy what you can do with that green yellow sectors.
Well, any list, really. I mean, Willow Feed is a massive comeback mechanic. If you're behind on Faeria, behind on resources, Willow Feed will bring you right back into the match.
Yeah, and it looks like Valerian picking the red combat here to counter Dompork's green yellow sec. It's not as one-sided as it used to be. Back in the day, I think red was really good against green yellow sec, but nowadays, if you can get an early lead by playing a lot of Skyax or by getting that Willow feed off.
The double Willow here is going to be incredible. Yeah. Now, 7 life is not an easy number for, you know, red combat to burst down, and being able to set up double Willow here means that there's going to be a lot of Faeria gathering. Iona Smile picked up as well, so Skyax could come off early. I really like Forest on the left-hand side here and just drop both Willows and then get 2 collections on the follow-up turn.
Yeah, that seems like a solid play to me. But of course you open yourself up to the 3-5 fitting into your Willow and gaining value that way. But so I'm not sure.
You can dump the Skyak in front of your Willow on the follow-up, but red does have a lot of removal. So yeah, it might be more hesitant there. Might just want to put a Willow on the opposite side and then start developing Skyaks on this side instead.
Oh, just goes for the Skyak. I guess he wants to take that value out of Iona Smile as soon as he can. So it's more likely that he draws into his Feed the Forests.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't know. I like the Willow. I like the Willow on the left-hand side. We're going to see an early Horsemaster. The only problem with this Horsemaster is a bit clunky on the land direction, but to be fair, Valerian is going to be the aggressor in this matchup, so kind of pushing that game plan quite early, rather than going down the slow route of collecting around the side.
And a Gift of Steel coming down here. It's interesting. We see the... I don't know if it's a punish, but Demon Wrangler would be a good answer to the 6-5 here.
Depends where this desert goes. I think the desert probably wants to go on the left of the orb, and then you just demon wrangle something off the Eye of Smile, but you're going to want to pick up either a flash salmon. See, the only issue I have with this is you put the demon wrangler in a spot where it gets hit by the boss for value.
Yeah. Not a big fan, but I guess you have to do it.
Well, Demon Wrangler could have went on the left side of the orb, and then you could have put the Demon Wing on the well, so blocking the well collection for that turn.
It looked like he really wanted to block the aggressive land, I guess. So that's also something you can consider here. Because if Red once Red gets that aggressive mountain and they can start dropping combat creatures to apply pressure, it can get really hard for the Sec player to deal with that.
Flash Salmon. I'm not going to sacrifice a Skyak. Values the attack.
I don't like this. You lose a card draw this way. I guess you get more creatures on the field now. So that's something that's good.
Oh, Firestorm would be pretty scary, but not enough Faeria or lands for it.
Yeah. So we see a Flame Burst perhaps on the 5-2. And then he gets to clear the 2-1.
The one thing I do like about this play is it does allow a Skyak to answer this boss on the follow-up.
Yes, that's true. But it looks like Valerian considering dropping the Brigand, yeah. And that's just gonna start getting value by hitting that face over and over again.
And the Willow not really enough here to keep it in check. We'll see what the Iona Smiler finds. It finds the Soul Eater a little slow. Unfortunately, the Salmon not going to really achieve much from this position.
Yeah. I could imagine you just Willow in between the worlds here. Just to get another collector in. And Valerian is low on cards, so of course he gains the Faeria from hitting face with the Brigand. But he can't really draw a card then, so I would really like to see a Forest in between the worlds and setting up that Willow from Dawnpok here.
Yeah, I mean there's no point putting a Willow down to defend you because the Brigand's gonna just chip away at it slowly and gain tremendous amounts of Faeria, and the problem is, if a Gift of Steel was to come down next turn, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah. But he goes for the Willow nonetheless.
See, I think Willow left side is a little better here because it forces Dawnpok to build land.
Valerian, you mean?
Oh, sorry, yeah, Valerian to build land. Because now, Valerian doesn't need to go for that aggressive land in the center. It can actually just shimmy to the right and hit the Willow for value. Could take the draw, and if a Gift of Steel was to show up, it'd be in a good position.
Yeah, so you can either take a draw here, or you can make the land for the Horsemaster to collect. Which I don't know if I like that, to be honest.
It looks like it's going to be Horsemaster into Horsemaster to clear the last Skyak, stop the double collection, which I can get on board with.
Yeah. This doesn't seem too bad. Although, you have to commit making 2 lands here.
Village Elder, not going to be that helpful.
Yeah, and Dawnpok really needs to get out his Soul Eater here.
Still 2 lands away.
Now you could play the Salmon to clear it, but then you give your opponent 2 hits.
Yeah.
And that's really bad.
No, thank you. Looks like it might just be a Willow to defend the orb here. Place it next to the Horsemaster and just soak up some damage. So that means the Brigand's locked in. I guess you could go Willow on the well instead to make sure you collect, because if Horsemaster does want to hit the orb, the Willow will be able to come around and take care of it on the following turn.
Yeah.
And the damage doesn't really mean anything at the moment.
I think you can take... Yeah, you can take 3 damage here. And then just play the Willow at the well to collect. And it's also better for future Feed the Forests, if you're drawn to those.
So not too bad for Donpork, stabilizing a little bit. Ground Shaker, it's going to be tough, because dropping a 5-6 right next to the opponent could be pretty devastating.
Yeah. So I imagine just Valerian developing double lands to hit face and then drop a Ground Shaker to get aggressive, really.
Yeah, I like that.
You could
a
also...
lot.
Oh, hitting into the Willow is also really nice. So this way you deny additional Feed the Forest value.
This just lined up perfectly, because now the Brigand and the Horsemaster will clear each Willow. Now Flash Salmon can come down, it can take care of the Horsemaster, giving the Willow some time to sit there and collect additional Faeria, or just block any orb damage coming from the Ground Shaker. And you could even actually set up a Soul Eater on the well from that point.
Yeah. Definitely.
I like that. That's pretty good. Like, Soul Eater on the well, you collect, you have a big threat that can challenge the Ground Shaker.
What do you think about doing it in reversed order? Using the salmon to clear the 3-1 instead of the 2-1?
My only issue with the reverse order, I guess from a positional perspective, it's fine, because now you have a Willow on the right side and you have a Soul Eater on the left side. But from a life point, kind of, like the 1-3, it had an extra life, so it dodges Cypher's Wrath.
Yeah, exactly. And spending a whole Flame Burst isn't something you want to do.
I was going to force a taunt up anyway, so just forcing the matter. If you were going to leave, I guess if you're going to leave the Willow to just sit there and collect and give Valerian the option of whether clearing it or taking orb damage. I guess so, but Cypher's Wrath just lines up kind of perfect there.
Yeah, and I could imagine Valerian going for the draw here. He could also instead go for the Axe Grinder, set it up in collection. But then you kind of slow down your aggression, and I don't know if you want to do that against the Soul Eater.
Yeah, it's hard to say really, because if you take an Axe Grinder on the well spot, where does the Ground Shaker go? Oh, there's the Cypher's Wrath, that's perfect.
And it mattered.
It did matter in the end.
Well, I guess he could also Ground Shaker and then Cyphers. But he couldn't have played the Ground Shaker aggressive then, so it's quite the difference, I would say.
Would you play... I guess you can't play Axe Grinder in this spot simply because it gets Wind Soldiered?
I don't think Donpork runs any Wind Soldier. So Valerian just wants to put out as much pressure as he possibly can. And yeah, I think it's gonna be another Soul Eater dropping down. And let's see if Valerian has the answer here for Donpork's mighty creatures from the deserts and the forests.
It's kind of a shame that Donpork was one Faeria short of developing an aggressive land just above the Soul Eater and playing that Soul Eater there to represent a 2-turn clock.
Yeah. But if he gets to just clear Valerian's board here over and over again, I think he might be quite happy as well. Yeah. And the Tentin is not that easily dealt with for a red player.
This is a decent opportunity, I suppose, to take another draw and hit face and play Ground Shaker, I guess.
Yeah. And it's starting to look grim. Double Flame Burst, that's already 6 damage in hand. And then the Ground Shaker as well.
Squeezing in that extra 1 could be relevant. And just forcing the Soul Eater to play defensively rather than take the more proactive approach. No Ground Shaker. Okay, so saving the Faeria. Maybe thinking, actually, my main out here is to draw another Flame Burst. I think that's absolutely fine.
Might be, yeah. No, Donpork has to be cautious that he doesn't give Valerian any Cypher's Wrath target. So he has to keep in mind Valerian has Burst in hand, and he probably is looking for a Cypher's Wrath to finish this game. So I guess you go aggressive with the 10-5,
Yeah.
and you clear with the 10-10, I guess.
And can't really play Skyak or the Village Elder, because like you said, Cypher's Wrath is a lethal opportunity for Valerian.
Moves on the mountain here. I think that's a nice play. I guess your opponent can still body block you, but then you have the other Soul Eater to return and kill the unit that's blocking you.
So I guess here, if you were to take the more aggressive route with the 10-10, you're forcing your opponent to use the removal to answer the 10-1, and you're setting up a 2-turn clock, but this is definitely the safer line. I think that's one thing Dompork was considering. Do I just go all in on going for a 1-turn lethal with 2 Soul Eaters? But ultimately decided against it.
Yeah.
And it worked
We
out.
see the Underground Brigand here come down. Oh, and another Soul Eater. That's huge.
Oh man, this could be Dompork's game.
Yeah.
One Flame Burst or double Cypher's Wrath needed now from Valerian. Do you... I was going to say, do you just play the Soul Eater on the forest? That was built next to the mountain on the previous turn, and then you feed the 10-4 to make sure it can't be double ciphered.
Oh, that's
unfortunate.
so unfortunate.
Just showing the answers in hand. Not going to be enough, unfortunately. And Dompork scrapes by on 1 life with this green-yellow sack.
Great game. And yeah, you almost got him. Almost. We've seen the burn player. It's kind of funny. Red Combat feels like a burn deck from time to time. When you try to get in 1 or 2 hits, and then you sit back and wait for Flame Burst Cyphers. It feels a bit cheesy, but I've been doing it countless of times. I bet you have as well.
Yeah, it's just integrated into kind of mono-red strategy. It's not something that can really be avoided. But
yeah.
Absolutely fantastic there from Dompork. Looking very bleak in the start. Things weren't lining up well, but then the chain of Soul Eaters and no answer from Valerian to find out lethal finishes up the game. 2-0 lead now. And now Yellow Tempo has to manage this very durable sacrifice deck. Not an archetype I was expecting to see in this monthly cup.
We've seen Green Yellow Sack earlier playing against Yellow events. It was the wedge between Lu and SKC.
But yeah, this is the thing though. Korea and Japan have both brought Green Yellow Sacrifice, whereas our European players are sticking to the more tried and tested.
I like this though. The matchup can also be really good for the Sack player. Last time we saw the match go in Lu's favor, but if the Sack player just gets to swarm the board and really the yellow player doesn't have a way of dealing with all these little creatures.
Yeah, board flooding is fantastic against Yellow Tempo. They don't have Firestorm like Red. They'd have to punch through each Yak or use Soul Drains and Wind Soldiers, which build towards these big Soul Eaters. But big Soul Eaters tend to get answered quite easily by the Nightmares, so the Sky Yaks are going to play a really important role. And one thing that Bone Collector can do is get a last Nightmare out of hand early in the right situation, and that can be pretty devastating because it's a 2 Faeria creature. You'd never want to last Nightmare it, but it can get to that range. It can get very powerful.
Yes, that's for sure. And we also see 2 Flesh Salmons in hand, which Dompork is going to be more than happy to sacrifice next turn to gain 2 additional cards and 2 buffs on the Bone Collector in the process.
I kind of like the Explore on the right-hand side of the orb there and playing the Skyak on the Explore, so it can collect off the right hand well and then die to the to the charger, and then you can use a flash salmon to finish it off. But Domport happy to just stick a Sky... And maybe he was anticipating the Manta Ride and just thought, you know what, Skyak can actually do a lot of work here.
Yeah. It's also one thing that you have to consider. Giving yellow events lands to move onto is generally something you don't want to do. So maybe he's just saying, I want to play this super conservative. You have to come to me, use up all your mobility to fight my creatures, and then I'll just sit back here with Bone Collector.
Would you throw the 2 flash salmons to the Bone Collector for those premium campfires?
I think I would. And it looks like Domport is going to as well.
Oh man, this is luxury camping right now. You get a flash salmon dinner, you get to draw some cards. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, that's definitely some quality camping done right. So we see Charger moving down, Manta Rider moving down as well, and I could probably see him use the Fanatic and the Outland Ranger to take the value trade on the Skyak.
I'll take the trade on the Bone Collector, right?
Well, you can't really, because it's out of range.
Oh no, of course he's gonna be. Ah yes, yeah. He needs to move a little bit down. Unfortunately, would you take the clear on the Skyak then? Feels kind of bad.
Yeah, but I mean, you just saw your opponent use 2 flash salmons.
But this means that the Bone Collector gets another meal. Ah, the Outland Ranger with a campfire. That's even better. So you get to keep it intact. That's okay. That's great.
And no flash salmon can come down here.
Well,
A Willow, however, might be oh wow.
Almost. Cutting it closer, but Willow gonna do the job.
Yeah. So I think that's a pretty good comeback here for Domport. Getting the return crew with the Living Willow, and then on top of that, developing 2 additional Skyx, which just seems very solid overall.
Explorer's still in hand as well, so there is a burst of Faeria and land development if Domport wants it. I'm not too sure when this Explorer's going to be come down, what it's being saved for, but I guess we'll find out soon enough.
And this is one of the problems Zach has at the moment, is if yellow can just outswarm you, outflood the board with these little creatures, it gets a bit hard to come back. However, these 2 Skyax here represent each 1 buff on the Bone Collector, meaning that even if they get removed, Bone Collector will be able to trade into the Manta Rider and survive.
Okay, so it looks like, yeah, allowing the Skyax to die, so if a Soul Drain was to come down, it wouldn't really matter, because like you said, the power-up is going to be enough to stop the Manta Rider from killing the Bone Collector, because the Bone Collector is going to gain 7 life, and then we have the Willow protecting the right-hand side of the Bone Collector from the Charger, so very good defensive play here from Domport so far.
And I also like the land positioning here. Domport sitting on his little island here.
The Skyak Island.
Yeah. You know, he enjoyed the Oversky so much, he decided to make an all island of his own.
Domport's navel. Oh,
Yeah.
just a pass. Okay, so passive play come from Valyrian here, respecting Bone Collector's potential to grow, knowing he can't clear a Skyak because the Manta is going to be left vulnerable. So, very, very cool. I like how Domport's positioned here. Very clever.
Yeah, so we see a forest in the middle here. That could mean the Willow can step up to contest the Charger. And then another Bone Collector could get played, perhaps.
Yeah.
And next turn it's already Soul Eater time. They've been fed quite nicely with some salmons. And if those 2 Skyaks die as well, those are gonna be some big Soul Eaters, 6/6 already.
And this is the position Domport wants to be in. He wants to have Bone Collectors as threats that need answers in the forms of hard removal, but also wants Soul Eaters that need hard removal as well. And You know, at the moment, Dompork's game plan, by the looks of it, is to flood with Soul Eaters rather than flood with just Skyax. And once you get enough Soul Eaters down, even if they're at 5/5s, they're going to be a bit of a problem for Valerian to take care of.
Yeah, and Valerian really doesn't want to develop any land here. But there's also not much he can draw into, really. This is just a very awkward spot.
And Valerian has, you know, inevitability going up against him because eventually letting Dompork do what he wants is exactly what Dompork wants to do. You know, he wants to get these Soul Eaters down, and the longer that he waits, the more Faeria he's going to gain, the more chances he's going to get, the more Skyax, for example. Things are looking tough for Valerian. Even with this Faeria and hand advantage, the hand doesn't really offer much in terms of an answer to this defensive position.
And that's one problem, I mean, one main problem of the Yellow Tempo. If you just have that much Faeria, I mean, you're triple collecting this whole game, but it still looks like Valerian can't take on Dompork, can't take on these Skyax and these Willows. And that's...
Okay, this is actually pretty good, because now the Charger can clear the Bone Collector, but leaves itself open to the Skyak, which is going to even further empower the Bone Collector.
Yeah. This is quite terrible.
I think it's the best option he had.
It's still the best option you had, but you know, using 7 Faeria to clear Willow is not really what you want to do.
But at the end of the day, Valerian has to be proactive here. Cannot let Dompork get away with just sitting on the island and just chilling and waiting for the win condition.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I wonder how he does the trades here. I could imagine he just hits him with a Bone Collector, so he takes some value out of a potential Last Nightmare that could come down on it.
Yeah, I think there's some value in keeping the Yak alive here. No, gonna just I guess Willow is gonna come down and just soak up. Maybe even a
Soul Eater even.
Yeah, I don't see why not. You can go Soul Eater into Willow at this point.
Yeah, and at 7/7 the Soul Eater's quite big already.
You could even explore, fill up the last 2 spots next to the orb, and get a Soul Eater on the right-hand side, which you can start collecting and terrorizing the 3/2s.
It looks like he opted for the Explore just to set up future collectors, I guess. And there's the Last Nightmare though.
But what do you kill? The
What do you
mobile
kill,
7/7 or the 2-cost 7/9?
Both are not looking too hot. So yeah, Valerian again in a tough spot here. Doesn't really have much going for him besides the Last Nightmare.
And all these Soul Eaters sitting in hand as well, ready to come down and cause some trouble. As long as there's one collection, Dompork can +1 into Soul Eater again next turn, and again, as long as there's one collection, Soul Eater on the follow-up play, and this could be too much pressure for Yellow Tempo to handle at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you get to play a 7/7 every turn for 5 Faeria, that's almost a Coloss every turn that's being played for yellow events.
So
and
where is
Soul
this
Eaters keep
Nightmare
growing.
going? Where's this Nightmare going? Actually, don't you Nightmare the 9/9, right? Because then you stop a collection, and that would have stopped another Soul Eater coming down.
Yeah, I think so too. Not sure why he did it the other way around. Maybe he was just afraid of the Bone Collector.
Just the power, I guess. The power of the Bone Collector could be too much to handle.
Yeah.
Which is fair. I can understand that, but this does give Dompork some Faeria, and now +1. Hello, Soul Eater.
And the self-burn is not really gonna help in this matchup as well. Soul Eater might even just grow to become 16 attack.
Another
Oh,
nightmare.
wow.
That's insane. If only he could clear both Soul Eaters, because the position of the 10-8 is out of range of the demon now. And if both Soul Eaters could be cleared, it'd be a fantastic position. But
Yeah.
another Soul Eater is just going to come down anyway.
I guess you could go for the Chen and then try to smog. Like Nightmare the Chen, play the 3-1 to block on the forest where the Soul Eater was now. And then you hit face.
Yeah, that's definitely a line. Going for, I'm going to try and win the next 3 turns kind of play. This kind of tells us that Valerian is going for the more conservative, collect Faeria, try and stay in the game that way, rather than take the more aggressive all-in line.
But this is nice as well. He denies him a double collect on the left side. However, Donpok still gets to drop this third Soul Eater here.
And clears the left collector anyway, so yeah. this is this is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, these Soul Eaters have been paying off. All 3 of them.
Oh man, if a Willow is picked up next turn as well, could spell doom for Valerian. The fact that Valerian is still kind of pushing damage is keeping him in the game right now.
Man, and a Fnatic here would have been really great.
Oh wow, Skyaxe. These Skyaxe are quite relevant. So both Soul Eaters can clear the demons, and then you can just set up Skyaxe as collectors. And the 11-6 then has the opportunity to push damage next turn.
Yeah, these Skyaxe are causing some trouble. Coming down to terrorize this poor Outland Ranger. When was the last time you've been assaulted at a campfire by a squadron of 4 flying yaks?
And they all have the strange helicopter goggles on as well. I think that would freak me out more. I'd be like, what? How did Skyaxe? How did they develop this? What secret technologies do they have? Wait,
Yeah.
what's going on here? Just powering up Soul Eaters. Flash wind to push 3 damage. It's so tragic. No, I think this is
Doesn't even
just
go
a
for it.
concede here.
Yeah.
Oh man. So there we have it. Green Yellow Sack taking 3 matches in a row. Not something I'd expect out of competitive Faeria right now. But if I
Me
guess
neither. I was quite surprised, but Green Yellow Sack is a strong deck. And Donpok definitely showed what was capable of doing here.
yeah, and we had SKC also representing Green Yellow Sack. Unfortunately, fell to the hands of Lou, which is nothing to be ashamed of. Lou is a world-class player in Faeria, but fantastic performance from Donpok. Going to move on to the next round. Let's talk to Scorch and see what he thought of the match.
Yeah, unfortunately, Valerian's run there comes to an end. Would have been. I mean, it's always nice to see new players to the monthly cup break through in a big way. Obviously, making it here to the quarterfinals is a big step for him. Hopefully, we'll see him back again next month and making another run. But wow, what a performance from Donpok there.
And like I was saying to Lizard, Green Yellow Sack is not a list I was thinking of when kind of trying to figure out lineups from players, and it's actually quite refreshing to see it perform so well against the tier 1 decks. It beat Tempo, it beat blue-green ramp, and it beat the red combat. So Green Yellow Sack in that game alone defeated everything at the top of the tiers, and this is kind of what Green Yellow Sack does. It never really sits at the top end of competitive Faeria. It always just creeps in every now and then and just dominates, and then it disappears for a while, and it comes back. And I do believe Mayhem had a run, I think it was around Monthly Cup 12-13, where he busted out Green Yellow Sack out of nowhere, and that, with Eridan, was very, very powerful and caught people off guard.
Yeah, it's a very good display there by Donpork of the way that it plays as well. You're sitting back, you're just like praying that you can hold on long enough, and then all of a sudden you get these Soul Eaters out and they're giant and no way for your opponent to deal with them, especially with, like I was talking about a little earlier, none of those hard removal of things like Frogify or Mirror Phantasm, just because blue is not as prevalent in the meta, and then you don't have things like Voice of Truth because mono green isn't played that much. So Soul Eaters in this type of situation can just really run rampant once you get to them.
And Skyak is such a great card to complement the Soul Eater strategy, because Donpork did something very cool with his Skyaks during those games. He used them as a wall of creatures to empower his Soul Eaters and his Bone Collectors. So in that last play, before he took the series, instead of playing, say, Collectors or aggressive Skyaks, he built a wall around them. So the Yellow Temple player had to kill the Yaks first, which meant that the 11-3 Soul Eater would get empowered up to an 11-4 outside of range of a Wind Soldier. And Wind Soldier was in Valerian's hand, and you can see at the end Valerian just throwing stuff at the Skyax, probably understanding that situation. So very well played there from Donpork. Fantastic to see that green-yellow sack.
Yeah, it's really impressive performance there. Of course, a good performance by Valerian making it this far, like I mentioned, but Donpork looks really strong right now to continue this run in the upcoming semifinals and then possibly into the grand finals if he's able to advance.
Will this be Donpork's run? Will he claim a monthly cup championship with the green-yellow sack? He also has some other spicy lists, which we've had the pleasure of seeing, but we're not going to say anything. We can't spoil that for you. So we'll return very shortly with another match. Stay tuned. Do not go anywhere. We will be back very soon.